This girl gets snatched by 3 aliens and forced to become a breeding tool. Their home planet is all male, and they've been stuck using cloning to boost their numbers. But clones don't evolve biologically, so they're banking on human women to produce superior offspring. Just as Momo's about to lose her dignity, her phone blares its ringtone. Next thing you know, a demonic spirit bursts out of it. Demons, aliens, monsters. More and more supernatural creatures are invading the human world. How did this apocalyptic mess even start? Can this girl slay her enemies and escape her grim fate? Hit that subscribe button, and let's dive into today's animation recap. Momo, our main girl, gets beaten up by her boyfriend for refusing to sleep with him. She's feeling crushed and dreams of finding a tough guy like Japanese movie star Ken Takakura. Sadly, Momo seems cursed. Every guy she dates turns out to be a total jerk. During a school break, Momo spots some bullies picking on a guy from another class. She sits next to him, scaring them off. The guy, Ken, chases after her. He's a loner, desperate to make a friend. Ken starts nerding out about aliens, but Momo, influenced by her grandma's work as a medium, is more into ghosts. Ken's not exactly a smooth talker. That's why he's got no friends. He insists ghosts aren't real, only aliens exist, and they end up in a heated debate. Neither can convince the other, so they make a bet. That night, Ken guides Momo over the phone to an abandoned hospital rumored to be a hotspot for alien abductions. Momo's way more scared of the dark than any aliens Ken's talking about. Meanwhile, Ken follows Momo's directions to an abandoned tunnel where you can't see a thing without a flashlight. To keep his fear at bay, he belts out songs at the top of his lungs. Turns out, he's terrified of ghosts too. Momo shares that her grandma taught her to make a spellcasting gesture whenever she leaves the house. Kids mocked her for it, and she was crushed. She doesn't want her grandma's medium work ridiculed, so she fully believes in ghosts and everything tied to her grandma's craft. Then, Ken starts believing in ghosts too, because a creepy spirit called Turbo Granny shows up right next to him. He bolts out of the tunnel like a madman, but Turbo Granny's specialty is running. Lose a race to her, and you're cursed. Guess who's cursed now? Ken. Momo gears up to rescue him, but she's in deep trouble herself. 3 aliens pop out of nowhere, ripping her clothes to shreds. When she wakes up, she's locked up. The aliens, calling themselves Serpo aliens, are stealing human reproductive organs to optimize their genes, using human women as breeding tools. A wild twist ruins the Serpo aliens' plan. Turbo Granny, controlling Ken, teleports through his phone to the hospital. She's got a thing for collecting male organs, putting her at odds with the aliens. Their clash is inevitable. Lasers versus spiritual energy. 2 worldviews colliding in a bizarre showdown. Turbo Granny's not at full strength since her true form isn't present, and the aliens come out on top. No one's left to save Momo, but in the nick of time, she remembers her grandma's spellcasting ritual. Her inner power awakens, and she sends an alien flying with a single kick. Next, Momo uses her newfound abilities to suppress Ken's curse, but his organs are still stuck in that tunnel with Turbo Granny. Only by making him whole again can the curse be lifted. On their way to the tunnel, Momo learns Ken's full name. Same as her idol, Ken Takakura. What a coincidence. Momo's freaking out. The second she looks away, Ken's curse flares up again, forcing him to transform. She pulls herself together, suppresses the curse, and warns him never to use his full name again. Dawn breaks, and since most ghosts only come out at night, Momo decides to take Ken to her place to rest. Big mistake. Ken starts spontaneously combusting. She realizes her grandma's protective talismans around the house create a barrier that repels ghosts, and Ken's curse makes him a target. Momo removes the talismans, and Ken's fine. With her grandma out, Momo decides to change clothes before helping Ken further. But the moment she closes her bedroom door, his curse acts up again, forcing her to change with the door open. In one night, one of them nearly died, and the other almost lost her dignity. Nothing bonds people like shared danger, and Ken finally makes his first friend. Then the doorbell rings. Momo remembers her grandma saying their house has a special bell only demons can trigger. Momo just removed the talismans, giving a demon a chance to invade, or so she thought. It's not a demon but a monster sent by the Serpo aliens, called Flatwoods. For some reason, it triggers the demon bell too. Flatwoods builds a massive wall around the yard, blocking Momo from reapplying the talismans to restore the barrier. Worse, Ken's trapped inside. If the barrier goes up, he'll burn with it. Ken has an idea. If Momo suppresses the curse in his head but lets it run wild in his body, he'll have human smarts and a monster's strength. They pull it off, turning Ken half human, half monster. But Flatwoods is too strong. Ken can only use his monster powers twice at full strength, nowhere near enough to take it down. Momo steps up as the main fighter. Her powers are new, and like Ken, she can't fully control them, but she's quick on her feet. She takes a hit from Flatwoods on purpose, tricking it into smashing its own wall. Momo uses her powers to yank Ken outside the barrier's range, then slaps the talismans back up, incinerating Flatwoods. Bad news, Momo's exhausted and passes out. Ken's turning into a monster again, and no one's around to stop the curse. Ken's first target is Momo. Just then, a silver-haired woman stops the crisis. She beats Ken with a baseball bat like she's swatting a kid, not a demon. Night falls, and Momo wakes up, immediately asking her grandma Seikko about Ken. Yep, that silver-haired woman is Seikko, Momo's grandma, who looks way younger than she should for mysterious reasons. Guided by Seikko, Momo finds Ken in a special barrier where his curse is contained, but he's stuck in a tiny space. Momo fills Seikko in on their wild night. As a medium, Seikko doesn't buy into aliens, but when she hears Turbo Granny's name, she gets serious. The tunnel where Turbo Granny hangs out is home to a powerful earthbound spirit, nearly invincible at its death site. Worse, Turbo Granny has merged with it, making her far more than a regular ghost. A medium's power comes from the local gods, but it weakens outside their territory, much like an earthbound spirit. Seikko can't go to the tunnel to take out Turbo Granny, but she's got a plan. Turbo Granny's got a top speed of 100 kilometers per hour and is super cocky about it. She'll never back down from a race if provoked. If Momo can lure her out of the spirit city limits, her powers could take her down. But Momo and Ken need serious training first. At dawn, while Seiko's glued to the TV, Momo and Ken start intense physical training. Hilariously, Ken suddenly gets stomach pains and needs to use the bathroom, but if he leaves Momo's sight, the curse takes over. Ken's mortified at the idea of Momo watching him, and she's grossed out too. Before Ken hits his limit, Seikko helps Momo rethink her powers. Unlike Seiko's spiritual energy, Momo's abilities don't come from gods and aren't just for fighting ghosts. No one knows their limits. Momo learns to sense targets by their aura, not just sight, unlocking new ways to use her powers. Just then, Ken can't hold it anymore. Seikko and Momo, both germaphobes, refuse to let him make a mess in the house. In a desperate burst, Ken outruns them and makes it to the toilet. Seikko suspects Momo's powers are sealed, weaker than when they first awakened. In a moment of distraction, Turbo Granny appears briefly, warning Momo to bring Ken to the tunnel that night, or everyone he's touched will die. Seikko and Ken freeze in fear. Turbo Granny's power is beyond anything they imagined. That night, Seikko equips Momo and Ken with special clothes to resist demons to some degree. Momo's resolved to destroy Turbo Granny, not just for Ken, but to protect Seikko, the person she cares about most. The plan's risky from the start. As Momo and Ken enter the tunnel, Turbo Granny transforms into two giant heads, blocking both exits. Ken taps into the curse to transform, but instantly reverts to human. Turbo Granny's cunning. She returned his organs, lifting the curse. Ken can't carry Momo to lure her out as planned, leaving them in a death trap. Momo remembers Seikko saying Turbo Granny's obsessed with her speed. She mocks Turbo Granny, saying she's too scared for a race. It works. Turbo Granny halts her attack and agrees to Momo's rules. Ken and Momo get a 10-minute head start. If Turbo Granny catches them, they lose. Turbo Granny exploits a loophole, counting the 10 minutes in seconds. She traps Momo with spiritual energy. Ken bites Turbo Granny's chest muscle, his special clothes disrupting her powers. To escape, she possesses Ken's body. Momo seizes the chance, using Ken's body as a vessel to temporarily seal Turbo Granny with her powers. But a new threat emerges. The tunnel's earthbound spirit, a giant crab, chases them at breakneck speed. Ken, borrowing Turbo Granny's power, runs full tilt but can't shake the crab. Inspired by a hot spring sign, Momo directs Ken to a nearby spring. She uses her powers to douse the crab with hot water, steaming it red and halting it temporarily. Turbo Granny's got a backup plan, summoning graveyard spirits to help. The crab recovers, and with the spirits, they surround the duo. Momo tells Ken to use his last full power transformation for speed. Momo uses her powers to latch onto distant traffic lights and electric poles, swinging like Spider-Man. They crash near train tracks, and in pain, Momo accidentally lets Turbo Granny escape Ken's body. The crab and spirits close in, and Turbo Granny merges with the crab for her ultimate form. Even Seikko would die here. In this dire moment, Momo turns the tables. She latches onto a train hitting 120 kilometers per hour, faster than Turbo Granny's 100 kilometers per hour peak. But trains don't stay at top speed. Turbo Granny catches up, falling into Momo's trap. Driven mad by her competitive streak, Turbo Granny doesn't notice she's left the crab's city limits. She's done for. The crab Turbo Granny hybrid explodes, freeing many girls' souls. The tunnel was a dumping ground for bodies, and their vengeful spirits formed the crab. Now free, they can reincarnate as heroes or princesses in another world. Turbo Granny wasn't purely evil. she roamed the country, comforting unreincarnated female ghosts. Seikko holds a ritual to send them off. Unaware, one ghost lingers, setting the stage for a bigger disaster. Life settles down, but Ken slips back into his insecure self. He's unsure if Momo will stay his friend now that the crisis is over. To his surprise, Momo waits for him at school, chatting about supernatural stuff like old pals. Ken's never been happier, even brushing off bullies with ease. During class, he's too distracted thinking about Momo to focus. At lunch, they wade through crowded halls to find each other but keep missing. They end up resting on adjacent benches, each thinking the other's avoiding them. They finally collide, literally, while walking. Classmates see it and mistake it for a kiss. They try to clear it up but fumble, sparking a brief argument. During their short Cold War, classmates grill Momo, who denies dating Ken. Meanwhile, Ken faces a crisis. His treasures are gone again. He begs Momo for help, but she's still mad and won't talk privately. He can't exactly announce his missing parts in front of everyone, so he's stuck. After school, Ken bumps into Era, a charming girl who captivates him. Momo sees them chatting and overhears Era mocking Ken to her friends, saying he's easy to fool. Momo uses her powers to drop a water basin on Era. She won't let her friend be played. Momo acts super close with Ken, shooting Era a deadly glare. To spare Ken's feelings, she doesn't expose Era's true colors. She apologizes for her earlier attitude, and Ken confesses his treasures are missing again. Back home, Momo can't stop laughing. Ken's so clueless. Noticing his loss so late, Seikko checks Ken's body with magic and spots a red aura. Its source flees into a nearby Lucky Cat figurine. It's Turbo Granny, not fully dead. Momo traps her with her powers. Knowing Turbo Granny helped lost souls, Momo doesn't want to destroy her, just get Ken's treasures back. Shockingly, Turbo Granny admits she lost them. Big trouble. Ken's treasures hold life-creating power, a hot commodity for ghosts and monsters. Wrapped in Turbo Granny's golden energy, they're eye-catching and likely picked up by someone, or something, already. Seikko reassures Ken she'll help search. The bigger worry is his curse. If he loses control in a crowd, it could be catastrophic. Her fears nearly come true. At school, a bully who usually torments Ken asks him to introduce Momo, spreading nasty rumors about her. Ken's curse erupts, and he warns the guy to stop. He barely regains control, avoiding disaster. Still shaken, Ken finds Turbo Granny hitched a ride in his backpack. Before he can deal with her, he spots Momo and instinctively hides, giving Turbo Granny a chance to roam free. Era, meanwhile, keeps up her sweet girl act while being cruel behind the scenes. She started the rumors about Momo. She found Ken's treasures during the Turbo Granny fight, gaining special powers and seeing herself as a savior. After Momo's water basin stunt, Era pegged her as a demon and spread rumors to get back at her. With Ken shutting down her gossip, Era plans a new attack. Then she spots a red-dressed ghost on the school field and hides, pausing her scheme. After school, Era lures Momo to an abandoned factory, where her friends ambush her. Era tries to exorcise Momo with a cross. Momo knocks out the friends with her powers and spots a golden egg in Era's hand, Ken's treasure. Ken arrives to warn Era of danger but is too late. The red-dressed ghost grabs her. Ken transforms to fight, but the ghost swallows him whole. Momo demands the ghost spit him out. Era, thinking the ghost is Momo's minion, yells about destroying it, and gets eaten too. The ghost's dance-like moves dodge and strike effortlessly, swallowing Momo as well. Turbo Granny saves the day, possessing the Lucky Cat figurine and gaining luck powers. Era's cross is actually a lighter. Momo ignites a fire inside the ghost with her powers, freeing all three. The red-dressed ghost fixates on Era, treating her like a daughter she wants to devour to stay together forever. Momo holds her off with her powers. Ken, useless in fights so far, either biting or running, steps up when Momo's in danger, briefly stunning the ghost. Turbo Granny retrieves Ken's treasure from Era, but devastatingly, Era's dead. Momo and Ken try CPR, but it's no use. The ghost offers to use all her power to revive Era, tearing off her aggressive mouth to prove sincerity. Turbo Granny confirms only the ghost can save her. Momo links the ghost's fading energy to Era's with her powers, glimpsing the ghost's past. The ghost was a single mom, working multiple jobs and even selling her body to support her daughter and pay debts, hoping to give her a happy life. But her daughter was taken by loan sharks, losing everything. Her obsession kept her from passing on. Her memories fractured. Wandering, she met Era, who saw her as her recently deceased mom. When Era could see ghosts longer due to Ken's treasure, the ghost's motherly love drove her mad until Ken stopped her. Era revives thanks to the ghost's power. The ghost, still regretful, faces oblivion after death. Era, seeing the ghost's memories, hugs her and calls her mom, easing her regrets. The ghost passes on peacefully. To clear bad blood, Momo apologizes for hitting Era with the basin and asks Era to apologize for mocking Ken. Things get wild. Era's grudge isn't about the basin. She thinks Momo's a demon plotting to destroy the world. Seeing Ken transform and Seikko's youthful look, Eira's convinced they're monsters. She vows to save Ken from Momo, not realizing she's fallen for him. After Eira leaves, Ken undergoes a ritual to reattach his treasure. Turbo Granny tosses the golden egg like a pitcher, restoring one of his parts. Life normalizes, but Ken distances himself from Momo, claiming he's doing homework. He's catching feelings and wants to get stronger to be worthy of her. Momo senses something's off and investigates, only to see Ken pinning Eira down. She assumes he lied to date Eira. Flashback. Ken was training alone to get stronger. Eira confessed to him, inspired by her dad's spicy videos, and tried to force a kiss. Ken resisted, and they fell, creating the scene Momo saw. Ken chases Momo to explain, but his poor communication and her anger keep the misunderstanding alive. In chemistry class, the teacher mentions Mantis Shrimps, whose punches are devastating in water but can break their joints in air. Momo doesn't know this fact will soon save them. During class, Ken trains secretly when water floods the floor, and classmates vanish. Eira screams outside. Ken finds her alone in a dark hallway. Momo's trapped on another floor, windows sealed, hearing inhuman footsteps. A dinosaur appears, its skin glowing yellow, firing laser blasts that wreck the building. Ken and Eira face Mantis Shrimp, a powerful alien. As Ken braces for a fight, Serpo aliens ambush him, using telekinesis to restrain him and knock Eira out. This is a special space created by the Serpo aliens, pulling in only those with unique powers. They want Ken's body for research, impressed by his transformation, and aim to take his treasure again. As Ken's about to lose it, Red Hair attacks the Serpo aliens. Eira, inheriting the red-dressed ghost's power, can now transform too. Eira's thrilled yet shy seeing Ken naked. He bolts to find clothes. Unaware he'll stay clothesless this episode, Eira struggles in battle. The Serpo aliens, ruthless, don't care about hitting their hired muscle. Mantis Shrimp, using wide attacks to target Eira. They restrain her with telekinesis, eyeing her for experiments too. Ken, ditching shame, transforms to save her, but three Serpo aliens overpower him with telekinesis, forcing both to revert. In their telekinetic space, gravity pins everyone down, leaving Ken and Eira defenseless. For extra measure, they order Mantis Shrimp to bash Ken's head. Suddenly, Ken transforms again. Momo breaks the telekinetic space with her powers, having defeated a dinosaur hired by the Serpo aliens. A tug-of-war ensues. The aliens suppress Momo with telekinesis, juice up Mantis Shrimp with a liquid boost. Then Momo counters them. Ken and Eira team up against Mantis Shrimp in an awkward pose, distracting Momo. The aliens seize the moment, undoing their transformations. The walls and ceiling turn to water, and the dinosaur returns, attacking everyone indiscriminately, including the Serpo aliens. Eira's trapped in the ceiling, and Mantis Shrimp's pursuit keeps Ken and Momo from helping. Its weakness: it needs to surface to breathe. Turbo Granny can't swim, so Ken can't use her speed to escape. Ken and Momo argue, her mad about his distance, him begging her to listen. They pause the fight, and Momo gets clever. Though Turbo Granny can't swim, Momo uses her powers to steer Ken, tapping Turbo Granny's explosive power to move fast in water. They rescue Eira, who, with Momo, strips to underwear for less drag. The Serpo aliens merge with Mantis Shrimp and the dinosaur. The dinosaur needs rest after laser blasts, giving the trio a chance to strike. But Mantis Shrimp's water-amplified attacks cover the dinosaur's weakness. Ken despairs, thinking they can't win in water. Momo recalls the chemistry lesson and hatches a risky plan. She taunts the merged monster, compressing the water with her powers as it punches. Mantis Shrimp's air-exposed punch shatters its arm without water's resistance. The trio escapes the alien space. Unfortunately, a naked guy and two girls in underwear draw the whole school's stares. The trio's hauled to the teacher's office, where a teacher nicknamed Queen assumes they were bullied out of their clothes. A male teacher barges in without knocking and gets a beating from Queen. She's fiercer than peak Turbo Granny. After he leaves, Ken wonders why the Serpo aliens don't just attack ghosts to steal their powers. He guesses ghosts are too strong, indirectly protecting Earth from alien domination. Ken gets hyped discussing his favorite topic, but they've got a bigger issue, explaining their lack of clothes. Eira's friends accuse Momo of bullying her. Momo brushes off the misunderstanding and asks Ken and Eira what happened. Ken explains he fell while dodging Eira's kiss, creating an awkward scene. Momo presses why he was hiding during lunch. Ken admits he was training to impress her with his strength. Momo senses the feelings behind his words, and the vibe gets flirty, until her friends show up. Her friends' wild imaginations guess Momo and Eira are rivals fighting over Ken in a no-clothes wrestling match. They're partly right. Eira, meanwhile, faces classmates who think Momo bullied her. They spread rumors about Momo's private life. Eira, changed by her ordeal, admits she started the rumors and begs them to stop. Just as Momo and Eira make peace, Mantis Shrimp attacks. Weak but desperate for his paycheck, he collapses before fighting, tears in his eyes, recalling leaving his son to work. Momo's thrilled. Here's proof of aliens for Seikko. Seikko thinks Mantis Shrimp looks like a kappa, a Japanese monster, and accuses Momo of faking it. Mantis Shrimp, grateful for Momo's help with food and healing, shares his story. His son has a disease causing blood loss, and he takes shady jobs to pay for treatment, being too weak for honest work. Ken offers his treasure to help Mantis Shrimp earn his reward. Seikko smells something familiar on Ken's wound and has him drink milk, confirming his blood is Earth's milk. She gifts him a cow to save his son daily, forging a deep friendship. The trio begs Seikko for new uniforms. She teases Momo for not being respectful enough, demanding a goofy hairstyle for the money. Momo complies, and then the doorbell rings. Momo's stunned. Seikko reveals the late-night visitor is Jin, Momo's first love. Jin's got an athlete's build and is Momo's first crush, making Ken feel inferior. But Jin's a goofy guy, cracking jokes non-stop. Era's imagination runs wild, suspecting Jin's a demon and Momo's assembling an evil army to destroy the world. She leaves to recruit superheroes. Ken slinks off, walking like a laid-off middle-aged man, his heart aching. Jin's arrival stirs emotions and kicks off a countdown to danger. Seikko tells Momo Jin's parents are hospitalized, so he's staying with them. While washing dishes, Jin apologizes for mocking Momo's medium family as kids. Lately, he's been seeing ghosts. Momo assumes he found Ken's treasure. Like Era, Jin's clueless, thinking she's making dirty jokes. His changes started after moving to the mountains. His home got weird, his parents' health tanked, and a monster kept appearing. Jin hired 5 mediums. 3 killed themselves. They said only Seikko could handle the monster. Since Seikko's powers are local, she assigns Momo the out-of-town exorcism. Jin's shocked to learn young-looking Seikko is Momo's grandma. Jin transfers to Momo's class, his charm winning everyone over. He loves pranks, announcing he's living with Momo with their parents' blessing, infuriating her. Ken can't focus in class, his mind consumed by Momo and Jin. He fears losing her to Jin. At lunch, he hides to work out, but Momo finds him to eat together. Jin shows up, and their lively chat leaves Ken ready to give up. Then a voice yells not to quit. The chemistry room's mannequin, Teru, comes alive, sprinting past with a golden egg. The trio chases him. Momo and Ken's teamwork shines, navigating rough terrain with ease. Momo tries to pull Teru with her powers, but his body shatters and reassembles. Running again, they end up at a recycling plant, where the story gets heartfelt yet absurd. Hannah, a half-body mannequin from school, was discarded for being old. Teru loves her and won't give up. Teru's devotion inspires Ken to find courage for his own feelings. First, Ken's determined to protect Teru and Hannah's love. Hannah stays at Seikko's, while Teru works as a classroom model by day and sneaks out to meet her at night. Why these mannequins gained life isn't explained yet. The golden egg on Teru isn't Ken's treasure. It's a Christmas ornament he used to charm Hannah. Inspired by Teru, Ken challenges Jin by belting out the slam dunk ending song, Only Looking at You. Jin, confused but competitive, counters with the opening, I want to shout I love you. Seikko stops their nonsense, assigning Momo to Jin's house for the weekend exorcism. Ken joins, eager to finish it, so Jin leaves. At school, kids playing a ghost hunting game are terrified by Teru, some wetting themselves. Love isn't just for humans. Teru overcomes obstacles to meet Hannah at dawn. While love blooms outside, Jin's tormented inside, sleepless from supernatural forces. En route to Jin's, Ken tries to outshine Jin by nerding out about aliens. Jin's impressed, and Ken struggles to stay mad at him. Charmed by his personality, Jin's home is near a hot spring, and Momo plans a dip. Finding no ghosts, she decides to return at night when they're active, heading to the spring alone. She's not slacking. She wants Ken and Jin to bond. Her kindness backfires. Middle-aged men claim the spring is mixed gender and approach despite her protests, pinning her underwater. Meanwhile, Ken and Jin find a hidden room in Jin's house, plastered with thousands of talismans. Congrats! You've just binged another classic animation recap on my channel. This show's my favorite in years, blending aliens, ghosts, Japanese urban legends, comedy, and teen drama. You never know what's next. It's packed with laughs, a wild world, and epic battles. Momo shines as a battlefield commander, turning hopeless fights around with quick thinking, exploiting enemy weaknesses, and maximizing her strengths. It's not about brute force but clever strategy, unlike typical anime power-ups. Season 2 drops in July. Subscribe, and I'll bring you the latest on this top-tier show. That's it for now. See you in the next video.